The United States of America, a nation recognized worldwide for its dominant economic and military power. It holds great appeal for those seeking opportunities. Its widespread cultural landscape attracts individuals from around the globe in pursuit of advancement and prosperity. Throughout this country's history, societal divisions have always been the norm. Each minority faces different realities and prejudices. Many of them have decided to live this way, while others have decided to speak up and take action, one of them being Eloise Colville. In the College Board stimulus, we see that natives were being greatly excluded, and they received this unjust treatment for years. As well, this situation escalated to the point where legal action had to be taken. Like the natives, various others minorities experienced this exclusion, including high school students. Good morning, my name is Maria Barboza, and my topic is minority exclusion in learning environments. My research question is, to what extent does the exclusion of minority high school students within their learning environments undermine academic achievement in the United States? After thorough research, I concluded that minority exclusion negatively impacts high school students' academic performance and achievements. Marginalization impairs students' collaborative learning, critical thinking skills, as well as their limited resources and encountering implicit bias. Exclusion of minority students has significant implications in their emotional well-being, as it deprives them of a sense of belonging, which is crucial for learning, managing stress, and feeling supported. This lack of belonging leads to decreased participation in classroom activities, meaning it decreases collaborative learning. In the article by researcher Janice McCabe, she claims that even though college campuses are known for their tolerance and openness to diverse cultures, Black and Latino students are often subject to racial jokes. In the study, students claimed that they didn't feel like there were people like them within their campus, leading to a sense of isolation as well as feeling out of place. As seen in the article by Patricia Sanchez, an associate professor in Birmingham State University, this feeling of displacement tends to be associated with their race and increases their levels of stress and anxiety, which can jeopardize their grades and performance in tests, assignments, and projects. Implicit bias is the stereotype of certain behaviors and traits, as well as judgmental perceptions and prejudices of certain groups of people. These students tend to experience prejudice from teachers both when being taught and disciplined. This has been a great issue, specifically when receiving disciplinary actions. As you can see, the chart showing the suspension rates over time, white students decreased from 6% to 3.4%, while Black students increased their suspension rates from 11.8 to 15%. In the article named Eliminating Disparities in School Discipline, it is observed how an extreme action was required to be taken by the state of California concerning out-of-school suspension. They passed measures to curtail the use of suspension, expulsion, and referral to law enforcement, as well as a bill that eliminates willful defiance as a valid reason for out-of-school suspension. Minorities tend to have lower income and therefore limited access to resources. This restricts students from participating in extracurricular activities, which are crucial to increase college acceptance rates and interpersonal development. In the article titled Extracurricular and Other After-School Activities for Youth, the author proves that participation in extracurricular activities in high school increases GPA, school engagement, and educational aspirations, as well as decrease the probabilities of school dropout and substance use in the early high school years. These are all benefits that minorities tend to not have due to their economic status, creating a disadvantage for these groups. Students also experience a disadvantage when receiving financial aid. As you can see, 57% of the students that receive federal aid are white, while only 12% are Black, 16% are Hispanic, 8% are Asian, and less than 1% are American Indian, Alaskan Natives, and Pacific Islanders. This can greatly discourage minority students seeking post-secondary education due to the fact their low income already limits their chances of being able to pay for school tuition, and on top of that, their decreased chances of receiving federal aid. What are the solutions to this? Implement systems for extracurricular activities in order to waive fees for students who can't afford those extracurriculars, and create more activities in which students can actively engage with one another in order to enhance communication and the feeling of supportness. You can diversify teachers and other administrative and clerical educational positions in educational centers in order to have a more open and tolerant environment. Financial aid criteria needs to be objectively revised in order to be more inclusive of these minorities. And punishments like suspensions should be agreed on by a board of people in order to make sure that there is no unjust treatment. The limitations. In order to plan these extracurriculars and implement this system, schools need time, effort, and a budget, which is most likely already designed for another type of area. Creating engaging activities can be difficult and wouldn't work if students are not honest and if they feel defensive. Finding qualified candidates can be very difficult due to the fact that they need certain experiences in certain fields of study. And revisiting established policies for financial help will require a lot of resources that may not always be efficient due to the fact it's a vast majority of students. In order to create and maintain a board of members of community to keep track of each student's record can be expensive and require extensive resources which may not be available in every educational institution. Here's my works cited. Thank you. Any further questions?
Two questions. First one, how'd your research question kind of evolve as you worked through this whole
At
process?
first, my research question was going to be students in general in the United States. However, I noticed that different ages manage exclusion differently, so I had to like narrow it down to either elementary, middle school, or high school. That's how like big you can go or how broad you can go because they all manage it differently due to their cognitive development age.
Right. And if you had more time, what additional research would you have done?
I would have done more research in how it emotionally affects students, because even though I mentioned that minority exclusion doesn't allow them to properly manage stress and anxiety and feel like they belong, I feel like there's a lot in how it affects their cognitive development, like I said, and how it affects them as they